Hello, this is a presentation on a project at Fairfield University funded by the Davis Educational Foundation entitled Civic Education Through the Promise of Democracy. And it has been spearheaded by a team of faculty at Fairfield University consisting of myself, Dr. Janie Leatherman, and my colleagues, Dr. Jennifer Adair, Dr. Rachelle Brunn-Bevel, Dr. Thomas Shea, and also Dr. Amalia Russo. So a team from our College of Arts and Sciences and also a faculty member from our School of Engineering. This project has had several components, and I would like to just highlight those elements briefly and then go over some aspects of it in a little bit more detail. So the mission of this project has been to raise up the promise of democracy, to integrate and gradually enhance civic learning and engagement on its promise into our coursework, curriculum, student programming, and faculty and staff professional development in order to align this project with the university's mission and the objectives of its new Magis Core. The funding from the Davis Educational Foundation has supported the development of new courses and course modules on the promise of democracy in both the American experience and comparatively across the world. And we've worked on this historically and also in contemporary contexts in such fields as anthropology and sociology, communication, English, history, international studies, modern languages, and politics, for example. This Davis project has also emphasized civic education and first-year student programming through the invitation of guest speakers to campus, working closely with faculty, staff, and students in training for difficult and deliberative dialogues. And we've especially focused on a method called Civic Reflection, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. Along with these efforts, we have developed a new app which is based on a pedagogy of questions and allows us to incorporate a variety of formats and media into the development of Quizlets to support the engagement of students and other community members in difficult dialogues around questions of civic engagement and the promise of democracy. Under the leadership of the College of Arts and Sciences, the Davis Grant has supported Fairfield University's mission to educate students on community formation, productive engagement and differences, discerning responsibilities beyond themselves, and building collective civil life, values informed by Fairfield's Jesuit mission. At a time of increasing polarization, civic decline, and challenges to democratic norms and practices, such engagement is vital for educating a new generation to carry forward and expand upon democracy. As I mentioned at the outset, this project has several components, and one of them has been civic reflection. We've used that methodology as a way to ground ourselves in learning how to carry out difficult dialogues. We called on Dr. Sandy Pope, who's the director of the Center for Civic Reflection at Salisbury University in Maryland, who led us in a civic engagement training workshop for more than 20 faculty, staff, and students at Fairfield University in January of 2020. And then subsequently, we carried out a second training session with Sandy in January of 2021, although thanks to the COVID pandemic, that second training was carried out via Zoom. So altogether, we've carried out a lot of trainings on campus and uses of the civic reflection method and a variety of settings. For example, through Sandy's engagement with us, we've trained a total of 38 faculty, staff, and students in mixed kind of community settings. We've had a team of students through the Office of Student Diversity and Multicultural Affairs, known as the CARE team, carry out civic reflection exercises on campus around key events and with campus student organizations. We've also collaboratively engaged with the university community around special events, such as the Martin Luther King Celebration Week, working with the Celebration Committee and the CARE team to do reflections in 2021. We did those around the questions of borderlands and Latinx identities, and using readings from Gloria Anzaldúa. And in 2020, we did it around the work of Nicole Hannah Jones, path-breaking study on democracy and 1619. So altogether, we've trained over 160 participants on campus in civic reflection through these types of engagements, as well as by engaging faculty, staff, and students in other fora, including residential assistants and other members of the Student Affairs Office, and by leading civic reflection trainings in classrooms collaboratively with faculty and members of our student care team. Another leg of our project is faculty learning communities. We've carried out 3 of those. We're in the third FLC this summer of 2021. Altogether, we'll have trained 23 faculty members on civic education through the promise of democracy. We will have designed 13 new courses and 6 new course modules around the theme of civic education through the promise of democracy. And then in support of those efforts, we've also designed a civic engagement app, a pedagogical tool, which is web-based, designed for inviting and facilitating classroom discussions. To launch this project, we invited 4 faculty members to develop a set of pilot questions covering topics related to our project in history, political science, and media literacy. The app, as we designed it, will provide instant visualization of student responses for discussion in the classroom. The instructors will be able to design Quizlets for the app and reuse those and revise those in a question bank. And other faculty members will be able to access those questions as well to use in their own classroom activities or also in other campus types of settings. As we go forward, we're cultivating or curating more content for the app through the work of our faculty learning community participants. So to sum up our project, we have a diagram here at the bottom of our poster, which highlights our civic engagement workshops and trainings around the methodology of civic reflection, the work of our faculty learning communities, and the development of our civic engagement app. As you can see, we've engaged staff, student leaders, and faculty across all 3 of these domains, supporting student life on campus, enriching our classroom experiences, the curriculum, and our critical engagement with the promise of democracy, as well as linking these efforts to speakers who've come to campus to highlight the contributions that make to expanding our understandings. And as one example of that, at the top of our poster, we have a word cloud that we put together based on student responses to a presentation that Leonard Downey, who's former executive editor of the Washington Post, gave us in October of 2020 on the role of news in our democracy. So we thank you very much for your interest in our poster and our work. And again, we thank the Davis Educational Foundation and the College of Arts and Sciences at Fairfield for their generous support and funding of this project.